The city of Camrose is located about an hour south of Edmonton. It is home to about 18,000 people. The University of Alberta's Augustana faculty is located in Camrose. The U of A reputation, small class sizes, and liberal arts curriculum draws about 1,000 students to Augustana. Camrose has grocery stores, restaurants, bars, theaters, medical facilities, and retail stores. However, most residents regularly make trips to Edmonton in order to access things only available in the big city. They may want to shop a wider selection of stores, visit friends, check out a special event, or even just crave Indian food. Out of all these reasons, medical needs are the most common and significant need that we have identified in both our interviews and surveys. Typical of small towns, Camrose lacks a lot of the specialty medical services available in a bigger city. There are many reasons a person from Camrose would travel to Edmonton. There are very few ways to get there, however. The trip to Edmonton from Camrose can only really be made by car. There is no public transit system in place connecting the two cities together. Bus services like Greyhound do not have stops in Camrose. The nearest station is over 40 kilometers away in the city of Wetaskiwin. Private-owned shuttle services to Edmonton also exist. A one-way ride on a shuttle costs around $100. Taking a taxi also costs around $100 one way. These costs are extremely inaccessible.
There are currently no options for residents of Camrose to leave the city if they don't have access to a personal vehicle. So whether they have a car or a friend has a car, if they have a medical appointment in Edmonton, they are in for a very expensive taxi ride. And as a result, I think the City Council recognizes that there's a need for some public transportation options. I think there are a number of different categories or demographics. Of course, the Augustana students and potentially profs coming from Edmonton campus, North Campus to the Camrose campus. I think that's one demographic. We also have a large number of seniors in Camrose, some with varying desires or abilities to drive. Some of them maybe don't want to drive in the winter and are okay driving in the summer. This would give them another option. We have the low-income section of our community that for various reasons maybe can't afford their own vehicle, so this gives them an option to get outside of Camrose. And I think we also have the commuters. So we have a fairly large number of people that commute from Camrose to Edmonton, and some people commute from Edmonton to Camrose that might want to take advantage of a regional transit option.
In our survey, we found that people wanted to travel to Edmonton for the following reasons. 37% of respondents go to Edmonton for medical needs. 22% of respondents went for social reasons, such as meeting friends. 17% of the respondents cited they want to travel to Edmonton for recreational reasons, such as shopping or cultural events. 15% of respondents want to visit Edmonton for career reasons, including commuting.
Definitely medical is one of the reasons why I would go to Edmonton, which I don't go because I don't have a car. I currently go, the reasons why I go now is because I have a partner in Edmonton, so I would go to visit my partner, and community as well, since there are some more events in Edmonton which are not offered necessarily in Camrose. And I would also go for career, since I'm looking at jobs in Edmonton, so that would make job interviews easier access.
I keep referring to Edmonton because that's the next big centre that we're focused on, but at least if residents of Camrose can get to Edmonton, they can use Edmonton as a hub to get somewhere else.
Traveling to Edmonton is particularly difficult for students at Augustana without a vehicle, making them a stakeholder in this issue. 1 in 5 student respondents of our survey did not have access to a vehicle. These students may not have their license or means for a vehicle, particularly one that they can bring to school. Some people do not have reliable vehicles for Alberta's winters.
I'm not a senior, I'm not a student, and I have access to a personal vehicle, so I can, if I want to go to Edmonton, I can get to Edmonton.
A significant demographic of students who do not have access to transportation are international students, who make up about 1/10 of the Augustana student body. International students also have specific needs to travel to a bigger city that other students may not have.
Just for some shopping. And yes, you know, there are not many Chinese restaurants in Camrose,
So for Chinese food?
Yeah. So we prefer to go to Edmonton.
After a while, so I would say my 3rd and 4th year, I started to find the need for it to be way stronger than it was before. because when you live on campus for such a long time and when you start getting used to a smaller city, you almost find the need to try to explore a little bit more and try to go to Edmonton more often, since you make more connections there as well. Even though there are cabs, the fact that people have to either walk or cab, it seems to be very inconvenient. Mostly I go with friends. I also have made the rides with professors that I personally know them, and I know that they make the commute from Edmonton to Camrose and Camrose to Edmonton really often. So I've done that a couple of times, but I was never able to get a ride with Camrose, the Augustana Carpool group, so it's mostly with friends or professor.
Students without vehicles who are looking to go to Edmonton either have to pay the high prices of pre-existing services or rely on their peers for a ride. This means that these students either have to pay over $200 to travel to Edmonton and back, or try to coordinate travels and costs on a university schedule. A public transit system connecting Camrose and Edmonton would be valuable to the Camrose community, particularly to Augustana students without a vehicle. While there are needs for transportation within Camrose, the need to connect Edmonton and Camrose is far greater.
As for me, I've had my mom come up and down to pick us up, and right now my sister is sick, so she has to come back up like 5, 6 times, 7 times a week, which is really not efficient for the family. And she has a job, so she has to like miss some appointments and all that stuff in order to come up here. So that has been really a struggle for my family, and it would be nice if we had a bus system, because that would make it easier for me to go up, come down. If I'm sick, I'll be able to go down there.
Students are also excluded from existing services. For example, the private shuttle services offered in Camrose are mainly directed towards senior citizens and are not widely used by citizens outside of this demographic. The potential impact of public transit systems reaches beyond Augustana to benefit the broader community. Students without direct access to private transportation rely on social connections and the ineffective Augustana carpool page as a means to travel to larger urban areas.
Now it seems that the carpool group is a little less used than it was in my first and second year, so that's kind of a shame.
But you know, some guys, there's this business to
The
take
price
me,
is high,
yeah,
and maybe
to
we can
take me
save
to
some
us
money.
to the Edmonton.
You have to go online, go on the Augustana carpooling website, and it's hard because not everybody's going over to Edmonton every week or the week that you want to go, and some people are going to charge you some ridiculous amount just to go over there, so that has been really hard.
Members of the Augustana community indicated they'd be willing to pay between $5 and $100 for a one-way bus ticket to Edmonton. The average respondent said that they would pay $19 for such a service. The average respondent said they would use a bus service to Edmonton about 3 times a month, although some survey respondents said that they would use it over 10 times a month. Of course, the amount that people would use it would depend on how convenient and how frequently the service were offered.
If it's just me going, it's just my ticket, I would say around $20 I'll pay.
Looking for a range between 20 to 50 bucks. Since I'm a student, that's kind of like my affordability right now.
I would say 4 times a month, so I'd go more often than I would otherwise.
I would really love for Camrose to have a bus system, because I'm a person who's always traveling back and forth to Edmonton and back here. I always go to Edmonton about 2-3 times a week, and if a bus system would be like available, I'll probably do it twice as much, 6 times, 7 times.
It's quite a hot topic. The new government is somewhat focused on trying to make sure that neighbours collaborate. So, seems like the right time.
Our research shows that there is a need for reliable, accessible transportation between Camrose and Edmonton. This need is clear throughout Camrose and would be particularly beneficial to the Augustana community. You know, we've been talking about this, and people at the city have been talking about rural transportation for as long as I've been here, for 3 years. People are going to need access to reliable transportation in order to find jobs that aren't necessarily in the oil and gas sector. Really, what we want to do is we want to call on the Alberta government as well as the city of Camrose to implement a public transit system between Camrose and Edmonton. That's going to bring a lot of benefit, not only for Augustana students, but for people in Camrose in general.